Welcome back to the Peaceful Mompreneur podcast. If you've ever felt the weight of trying to do it all, especially in business, you're not alone. Today's guest shares what it's like to grow a thriving business while battling the quiet guilt of success, the pressure to people please, and the fear of asking for help. We're talking about letting go with intention, embracing grace, and finding peace in purpose. This one is for the mom who's ready to stop carrying it all alone. I'm excited to announce today's guest. Cathy, who will tell you her last name later because I forgot to ask. She is the founder and chief Cathy Officer of Virtual Cathy, a virtual assisting agency that supports small business owners and nonprofit leaders with the behind the scenes help they need to grow without sacrificing their sanity. A former business consultant and now CEO of a multi VA team serving clients across the US, Cathy knows the pressure of wearing all the hats, especially as a woman of faith, trying to honor both her calling and her capacity. On this episode, she's opening up about the quiet guilt that often follows new business owners, especially moms, and how she's learning to trade hustle for peace and people pleasing for obedience to God's purpose in her life. Thank you so much for being here with us, Cathy. And I am sorry. How do you say your last name?
It's a doozy. It's Baillargeon is the easiest way to say it.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm so glad that you're here. And I really do try to ask people their names before we get rolling. But thank you for so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so you've built something pretty impactful. You have this multi VA agency that's super exciting. And so you said that there was guilt that came along with that success. Can you talk about what that looked like and what that felt like for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So when I started my business 7 years ago, my kids were teenagers, like teenage, age, needed more eyes on them, needed more time. That's a critical time. And so I, when you are a mom and you're trying to build something that you felt like God has put on your heart, it is so difficult to combat this guilt of, oh my gosh, God doesn't necessarily promise the whole work-life balance, especially when you're building a business. And you're trying to determine whether or not, like, is this, I feel this calling. Do I focus on my business when I feel like my attention could be elsewhere, especially when it comes to the family? And so there is this unquestionable guilt that you have every day. Like you're just enjoying pouring yourself into this business that you're building and you're seeing it completely flourish. And you know that like the hand of God is on it, but you're also feeling like, is my family, struggling, or is it not as strong as it could be because my attention is elsewhere?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the real pull and a tug for a lot of people. So, especially moms, like when you're saying like building these businesses. So, why do you think that it is that they're like, especially, maybe not especially, but even when there is success, right? Like you were saying, you're seeing your business flourish. Why do you think why do you think this happens to us so often?
That's a really great question. I think there can be a variety of different reasons why we feel guilty in our success. If it's not like directly family related, first off, I believe there's this huge pressure in society these days, as well as like, just any kind of like in belief or like, oh, we really should be more heart-centered, family-centered? And does that include a business? Does it include a business? Are we being too, are we being too, like, not necessarily money driven, but like, are we driven to success more than in business versus a success in our daily lives? I also believe, imposter syndrome is also a huge thing where when it comes to success, there's always this question of, well, do we really deserve it? Do we really deserve the success that we're seeing? Was it a fluke? Was it luck? Or is this, or is it more? And what are we going to do with it? Is it going to change us? And the core values that we have. There's just always these. We're constantly questioning ourselves, just as moms, let alone business owners. And then adding, being a business owner on top of that, you are just inundating yourself, just constantly questioning. everything that you're doing and whether it's the right way, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting. It can be.
Yeah, it absolutely can be. So, as success comes, or as you're building a business, so do responsibilities, right? So, you are
Yes.
obviously in charge of keeping these little people alive that are your family. And then all of a sudden, now you've added this new responsibility that's like basically taking care of a baby when it's first starting, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so, these responsibilities and the success is coming, and there's so many things to be done, and not everything is a good idea, right? And not every, so can you talk about this shift in this perspective from doing it all to only doing what God has actually called you to do and letting go of some other stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. God always puts a calling on a lot of our hearts. And, with that calling, for whatever reason, we believe that all of it is ours, which I guess technically it is. However, is God really calling you to spend 4 hours of admin work, after you've had a whole day of meetings, that's eating into, either your family time or real true time building your business. It doesn't necessarily mean, regardless of, like faith and belief, we don't have to do it all alone. We do bless people when we ask for help, whether that's for our family within our organization. And we have to realize that just because God has given us this calling, this organization that we've created, it doesn't mean we have to do it all. And there is a lot of like pride and fear and humility that comes with asking for help. And that
Mm.
is a big hurdle that us women, business owners, mothers have to jump over for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're you know what I'm saying. We're going into delegation pretty easily or pretty seamlessly here. So let's talk about that for sure. So many moms avoid asking for help because it feels like quitting. So how can someone reframe their mind instead of I'm quitting that what's the thing?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of different reasons why people hesitate in asking for help. Whether it feels like they're quitting, it's like, no, I'm going to continue this calling that God calls me to be. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be not all of it has to be on me. Like one of the biggest excuses that we give ourselves is, um, maybe it's easier for me to do it than for me to explain. When in actuality, like thinking in long term, if you train somebody to do something that you do, and it might take a little bit more time up front to get them up to speed on how you do things. Think of all of the extra time that you're going to have long term handing that off going forward. And so it's so hard to see, you know, short term versus long term benefits when it comes to delegating. One of the other excuses that we say or tell ourselves is that we don't want to burden other people with our stuff, especially if we've done it all before. Like if I've done it before, then I should be doing it. If it's my business, I should be doing everything a part of in it. And I don't know why we put this pressure on ourselves because I mean, by all means, the core of what we do, the services that we provide, the interactions that we have are much more important than invoicing. It's
Mm.
important to the business, like it's the blood life of a business, but somebody else can invoice. And in fact, like it would be even easier for somebody else to, especially for us who have like an emotional tie to asking for money. Another person, like a person that you hire to do your invoicing, they don't care. Like they don't have that, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm sending this invoice. What are they going to think? What if they, question it? No, they're just going to send the invoice. And so it's 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 tough to have to let go. Like it we also feel like, what does this mean? Like, am I failing if I need help in my business? No, absolutely not. In fact, it means that you're growing and you're like setting yourself up to scale and do larger things with the calling that God gave you. It's God has never said, I'm going to give this to you and you have to do it all by yourself. No, God wants you to bring people in. They are going to bless you and you're going to bless them in return by allowing them to learn new tasks, new projects, new ways of doing things, and vice versa. Like
Mhm.
it doesn't, it, because we're doing it doesn't mean that we know the best way to do things either. It's a big, like, it's like the whole circle, right?
Mhm.
Of learning both sides. There's a lot of
Yeah.
benefits in delegating. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love the way that you reframe that. Like it is a blessing. It's a blessing to you as the person doing the hiring, but it's also a blessing to that other person. And
absolutely.
yeah, so like you're blessing them by providing for their family, by giving them a job, by learning new skills, by doing and creating new relationships. Like all of this blessing. Like nobody's losing in this
No,
situation. So
absolutely not.
that's perfect. And I love what you were talking about. Like, if you're emotionally tied to something, you can hire that out. I've never heard anybody say that before, but that is wise advice right there. So,
Yes.
what does intentionally letting go look like for someone? And like, are there boundaries or rhythms that you would suggest someone put into place to be able to intentionally let go?
Well, first off, we need to give ourselves some grace because for whatever reason, when people become business owners, for whatever reason, we think that delegating is just going to be this natural ability that we have. We're just going to be able to ask somebody to do something, explain and communicate exactly what we want the first time around. When I will consistently say delegation is an art. It's a skill set and it only gets easier and better the more you do it. So it's this, like you have to, in order to be better, you have to continue doing it. And so one of the things that we have to keep in mind when it comes to delegating is like it's I'm trying to think of, like, I'm hoping I'm answering your question. Remind me of the question again. I'm sorry.
What does it look like to intentionally let go?
Oh, yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Uh you have to start small. Like we put so much pressure, like, okay, first off, a lot of times business owners think that they need at least part-time a, a part-time amount of work to delegate. Everything is fractional these days. Just getting 10 hours of support a month, not even a week, can be really beneficial for you, your business, your family, so on and so forth. And so it doesn't have to be 20 hours a week. That's a lot of work to
Mhm.
delegate, especially right off the bat. Or people who are trying to like build up a 40-hour work week before they hire. That's a lot of pressure, a lot of like you have to arrange for things. And so start small, intentionally delegating, intentionally letting go just starts with a real honest conversation with yourself. What do I hate doing? What takes me the most time? What can I do instead if I were to get rid of these 1 to 3 tasks and
Mhm.
start from there? Like it does not have to be this big, uh, this big operation of trying to get rid of everything off your plate. It can start small and then you can get used to handing things off, communicating what you need to have done from there.
That's perfect. Yeah. So I love what you're saying. Like we just start small. And I think it's very, especially as entrepreneurs, like we're like, we got to do everything or nothing at all. And if I am going to
Yes.
delegate, then now I have to get rid of everything. And so it's like, no, it's not all or nothing, friend. Like start small. It is a skill, like you said, and we're not just good at everything as soon as we start it. Some
Right.
people will be good at it, but some people will be really bad at it. And so it's a giving that person that you're hiring grace, giving yourself grace, being willing to know that you both are the beginning of this process is hard. No matter how many times you've done it or they've done it, like you both have to learn one another and figure it out as a together. So, I love that so much. It's definitely a skill. So, can you tell us a story from your own life that you let go of something and it made a noticeable difference for you?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I I had one of my VAs take over my email. And this is probably our most like our most common request is email management. And so I just remember thinking when I was handing over the keys to what I felt like was the kingdom, right, in my business, was gosh, I nonchalantly, cavalierly just say this all the time when I'm talking to people who are interested in services. Oh, yeah, we can do your email management. We can take care of all of this stuff in your inbox. And when it came to actually doing this myself, I was terrified. I, when it comes to business email, there's business, there's probably a little bit of personal going in there, there's financial stuff. Like you just think that you are completely naked and exposed
Mhm.
for just having somebody in there looking at things. What if a client is disgruntled and they read that email? What if one of my employees, like, you just think of all of these scenarios in which like I would really hate for somebody to read that email and here you are just inviting somebody in to read all your emails to organize it for you. And it was the biggest game changer though. It I had to really get over that initial fear and the fact that I felt so hypocritical in being so, again, nonchalant, talking about email management to our clients when I was having such a hard time letting that go. But man, makes the biggest difference in my day to day. I don't live in my email anymore when it used to be just up and I'm just looking at it all day, every day. And now I just go in there and I take care of what I need to take care of. A lot of times my VA actually drafts a response so I don't even have to like come up with anything. It makes the day my attention can be definitely elsewhere and I know I'm not going to be forgetting or overlooking something important because somebody else is in there and there's more, two sets of eyes is better than one.
No, that's great. I love that story so much. I like that you said you got over the fear. You took the step that you knew needed to be taken, which is
Mhm.
what running a business is. Like every step is like, "Oh, this is scary, but we're going to do it anyway because it's the place to go." And now
Yeah,
you can really meet with your clients exactly where they are because you understand this fear that they're coming with, so it makes you more empathetic. I
100%.
love that. Okay, so if there was someone listening right now and they feel like there's this tug that they need to start letting go of something, where would you tell her to start?
Mm, I would tell them to start, okay, like where do you want to put your time first and foremost? Because especially with mompreneurs, that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to start delegating tasks in their business. It might be delegating tasks out like in their home life. So instead of having somebody look through your emails, perhaps it's, hiring a cleaner to clean your house so then you don't have to do it. So
Mhm.
it's kind of that question of like, okay, where do you want to see the, the tension relief? Is it in your home? Is it in your business? What makes most sense for you and your family? And then I would again always recommend giving yourself no more than 3 to 5 things that you want to delegate first. Get those crystal clear as to what you want delegated in
Mhm.
home or business before you move on to additional things that you want to take off your plate. Give yourself a little bit of grace. Otherwise, if you delegate so much at one time, you're just going to completely overwhelm yourself.
Yep.
Communication is going to go down, and then you're going to feel like the learning curve is going to be sharper. And then all of a sudden, you're feeling like, I don't know if this is even worth it. Like it's just so stressful, all of it.
That's wonderful advice. I love that. Yep. Yeah. So I really like that you reframed it. It's like it doesn't have to be for your business. Delegation can be in your house. That's hiring somebody out or just asking people in your own whole family to take on
Yes.
things that maybe they should be their responsibility and not yours. Um,
Yes.
yeah, so that is wonderful. So if you were sitting in front of one Christian mompreneur and you had 1 minute to tell her anything, what advice would you give her?
Hmm. Oh gosh,
Sorry,
that's a good
surprise.
question. Yeah. Uh, I will always say, oh, just I would say this to any business owner or somebody that's starting or somebody that has started and is just really kind of struggling on getting going. I have built my business on good enough. We have a hard tendency of trying to be perfectionists, and especially if we feel like this is a call in our life, we want it to be the best reflection of what we have to offer. But then there's times in business and in life where you just need to create and be done with it, and you can always go back and revamp it and just freshen it up, clean it up, pretty it up, whatever whatever that means. But if you are strapped for time, don't really have an opportunity to delegate, do what you can and continue moving on to see that growth in your business until you get an opportunity to um, go back and make things like you want to get things done over making things perfect.
All right, that's great advice. I love it so much. Okay, so Cathy, tell everybody what you have, what gift that you're offering them, the Mastering Your Time. Tell us about it.
Yeah, absolutely. We have um, a, a gift that says, what would you do with an extra 15 hours a week? So, like, it gives you a dozen ideas of what you could potentially delegate first in your business. Especially, it's so hard to even comprehend, like, even like imagine what you would delegate first, especially since you've been doing it for so long. So, this will give you some ideas on what you can delegate. It also includes a questionnaire that can help determine which tasks will make the most significant impact on your day-to-day schedule. And then if you are thinking of bringing somebody in on a fractional level or whatever that looks like, a plan to maximize that help within your company. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Yes, and so the link to this Mastering Your Time list will be in the description of this video, so everybody can grab that. Cathy, this has been so wonderful. Thank you for joining us.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.